I am very disappointed right now. Hello, welcome back to this episode. I'm on camera, which I've not done recently, so hello, I have a face and a beard. Hi. For any long-time subscribers, and I don't think there are many of you, just because I want to say whatever's happening, I've had this massive bump up in subscribers. People are coming, I'm getting really nice messages of support and lots of other stuff. Thank you guys, I am shocked. There is a really old video on my channel where I talk about practical magic, and there is a video where I talk about the book and the film next to each other. So you can go back and find those if you want. The early video is embarrassing as hell, but you can cringe while you're watching. So yeah, cringe is the operative word. Practical Magic and Alice Hoffman, actually. Alice Hoffman, the writer, is one of my favourite writers, and she doesn't get a lot of the love that she genuinely deserves. I've had the pleasure of meeting her. She's rather wonderful. I say this, books of hers, that she hops genres, she goes across multiple things, and even the Practical Magic books, there are 4, by the way. So you have the prequel, Magic Lessons, which is about Maria Owens, the Rules of Magic, which takes place about pre the book Practical Magic and takes place about the family before then, and then you have Practical Magic, obviously, and the final sequel, the Book of Magic, which is rather beautiful, actually. And there was a viral story of a sequel, even a mock-up poster, by the way, which is I used in this thumbnail, so you will see it. And everyone was so happy. TikTok, Twitter, internet forums, it was like, oh my god, it's finally happening. And it's not, unfortunately, and I'm really disappointed it's not happening, because I feel like this is such a rich world to explore, and wouldn't we love to see Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock back? Wouldn't we want to see that? I'd love to do it, and the daughters especially. But I always say there's a lot of potential. They tried to develop I think there's been 2 attempts at developing a TV show. I don't know if that's true or not. I know one got a pilot, and it didn't go anywhere, and the pilot's never been shown. Can we get that? There's also 2 versions of the movie. That's something most people don't know. There are 2 versions of this movie. There is the theatrical cut that we all know and love, that introduced me to Stevie Nicks and Sheryl Crow and other people. And then there is the original cut that is apparently in the vault and is more of a darker, spooky ghost story. Probably a little more in keeping with the book, apparently, in tone. I hope they release that. Please release that, today. Can we get that released, please? I mean, there's a lot of potential here, and I always say this, sequels always worry me, but I was unbelievably happy, and the rumours were the cast were coming back, and all of this, and unfortunately it's not true. Other rumours, though, have floated around about this property for a long time, and just a side note to this, if you want to read a good Alice Hoffman book, read the Dove Keepers. It's historical fiction with a bit of a supernatural twist, and it's very good. What I would love them to do is turn Magic Lessons, which is the prequel to the series, into a film about Maria Owens, or a series. There is a lot of potential there, and it's beautifully written. It's a great piece of kind of witchy historical fiction, and I think that has a lot of potential. Or you could go back to the childhood of the girls, Sally and Gillian. So there's a lot of room for stuff here. But unfortunately, I don't think that's ever going to happen anytime soon. But I do wonder if they could. That's something I question. Could they do this and recapture the magic of that film? Excuse the pun. The first film is so well made, beautifully shot, beautifully written, and the characters are so human. I look at that film and I think of people I know, my mother, for example, comes to mind, and friends of mine, and the women in my life, the strong women in my life. That's who comes to mind whenever I watch that film. My posture is terrible. I don't know if a sequel would work. As much as I would love to see everyone come back together and create something, can lightning strike twice? We've been burnt by a lot of prequels and sequels and extended universe stuff, and I wonder if you could recapture that magic. Stockard Channing in that movie reminds me of my grandmother in the most frightening way. I know that's a compliment. It reminds me of my grandmother. But you look at that movie and it's so well done, and it's such a charming film that genuinely captures something, captures the chemistry is there, the characters are there, the production was there, countless sequels and prequels and extended universe stuff. Is it needed? Why not just release the original cut of the movie? Give us the option of seeing it, because I think that would be really cool, or the TV pilot. I think some things are better left alone, and I'm kind of glad that the sequel isn't true, just because of the nature of Hollywood currently. I would just love, there's a side of me that would love to see these characters back, see them catch up with them, like the books did. You catch up with these characters, and Practical Magic kind of happens in the middle. So you kind of catch up with these characters and these stories and these amazing little moments. And I know I would, like I said, I'd love to turn magic lessons into like a historical witchy film. I think that would just be cool. Maybe some things are better left alone, and maybe this not having a sequel is a good thing. I know there are film rights to these books. I know the studio own film rights, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, sadly. Maybe it's, like I said, maybe it's a good thing though. Double-edged sword. Maybe that one film should stand on its own and not be ruined by Hollywood taking the book, shredding it, and churning out a mess. I mean, the book and the film are two very separate entities. And I mean that. Although key similarities, plot points, characters they're two separate entities, and they're both equally good in different ways. I think the film presents more focused story than the book does. That's one thing I will say. The story is more focused and the timeline is kind of squashed down, partly because of scheduling and actors' ages and things. But I just wonder, like you said, all of this hype, all of this stuff around this movie, and just thinking this would be, there's side of me going, this would be amazing, and there's a side of me thinking this would be terrible. Kind of bearer of bad news on that one, and I apologise so much for it, because I know how loved it is, and I'm one of those people that genuinely love Practical Magic, and I have a small collection of things related to that movie and book, and have met the great Alice Hoffman, who is criminally underrated, by the way. I don't know why she isn't talked about more in certain spheres, because here's my first edition, which, by the way, I got on a trip in the US from here. And I got it for, it was in their sale. It was in a box for their sale items in its first edition. And it's signed by Alice Hoffman, but I got it signed later. Yeah, I love book covers of this era. This is a little bit of a thing of mine. I love book covers of the 90s where they used old paintings. The double-edged sword of just having a great movie and a great book, and the books stand alone. They're well written. They're great character pieces. They're a great study of strong women without falling into the modern tropes, I suppose. Maybe it's better that the film is left alone to stand as its piece. Give us the alternative version. Let the film stand alone and let the film be its own thing. Because, honestly, Hollywood recently has a habit of ruining things, and that's kind of sad. And I don't know how they would deal with the sequel book, The Book of Magic. So tell me what you think in the comments below. I'm very curious on this one. Do you guys want to see a sequel?